What is going on, guys? How is it going? Now we have the Amazing Spider-Man issue 545, the final part in the One More Day saga. And before we kick this issue off, I actually just want to say that I hope you guys had a good Christmas. It's actually almost New Year's Day now, so I have no idea what kind of videos are going to be coming out. I'm actually going to be uploading my next Ultimate Spider-Man video, Ultimate Spider-Man walkthrough video, I should probably say, in the next couple of days, so that's going to be interesting. And of course we have, in January, I'm going to be reviewing from Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1 all the way up to issue 133, so yes, I'm going to be reviewing every single Ultimate Spider-Man issue, and that is going to probably take a while, but of course we'll get there eventually. But yeah, so without further ado, guys, let's get into this issue. Alright, so starting off the issue, we actually remember from the previous issue that Mephisto actually wants Peter Parker and Mary Jane to trade their love to save Aunt May. Now, the reason why he wants their love is because Peter and MJ have the purest love of all, and their type of love is the hardest to come by out of in a lifetime or something like that, so that's why it's so special to Mephisto. Now, Peter and MJ have this thing where they have to make the deal before midnight, or well, after midnight. It's either Peter Parker and Mary Jane are going to lose their marriage, or Aunt May is going to die. One of them is going to happen after midnight, and this is basically the issue in the run-up to this. Now, this is the final issue in the One More Day saga, and after this actually starts Brand New Day. Now, in case you guys don't know what Brand New Day is, it's pretty much known as the worst storyline, not in Spider-Man comic book history, but in comic book history as a whole. That's how bad the Brand New storyline is. Well, Brand New Day storyline, should I say. But yeah, so Peter is actually talking about why he wants to save Aunt May so badly. Like, if it was just old age, then he wouldn't be too, obviously be bothered, but obviously that's just life, isn't it? That's life, you're going to die eventually. But the reason why he's so bothered is because he blames himself. Because obviously the bullet that hit Aunt May was actually intended to hit Peter Parker, and he dodged it. And that has actually left quite a toll on Peter Parker, and that is why he wants to save her so badly. But of course, MJ did just mention that what if it actually is her time to die. And in my opinion, I absolutely love the close-up shots in this comic. It reminds me of Ultimate Spider-Man issue 13. Now, in Ultimate Spider-Man issue 13, Peter actually reveals his identity to Mary Jane in the Ultimate Universe, and one of the most iconic things about that comic, one of the most memorable parts of that comic, is the fact that the entire comic is literally just inside Peter Parker's room. There's no action, and it's all close-up drawings and all close-up shots in the comic, just like this comic here, how you get like a close-up picture of Peter and MJ's face. And I absolutely love the storytelling point of that. I think it's just awesome. I think it gives more of an emotional impact on the audience, if like that makes sense. But now that it's actually reached midnight, Mephisto has appeared in front of MJ and Peter Parker, and of course he's there to find out what their decision is. Actually, he probably already knows what their decision is, but obviously he's just going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, so moving on, we actually have Mephisto explaining why he chose Peter Parker and Mary Jane out of the entire world. He chose them, and of course it was because of their love, as I already explained at the beginning of the comic. But Mary Jane actually agrees with Mephisto almost straight away, and you don't actually hear what Mary Jane whispers to Mephisto, but in a spin-off comic to Civil War called One Moment in Time, that's the Amazing Spider-Man One Moment in Time, by the way, you actually discover that Mary Jane whispered to Mephisto saying that she will convince Peter Parker to make the deal, but Mephisto must never do this again. He must never contact Peter Parker or try and make a deal with him again and stuff like that. Now, one of the most interesting parts about this comic is the fact that Peter and MJ never asked who the little girl was in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issue 24. And of course, it was actually their daughter, their future daughter, that they would most definitely have if they chose to not save Aunt May and continue going on with their life and their marriage and stuff like that. Now, they've basically given up the best of both of them in one person to save Aunt May. Now, of course, they didn't know that, but that is where Mephisto and his trickery comes into all this. Now, of course, everything's starting to change, and Mary Jane says, of course, that one day they will be together again and all of that. and how if they really do love each other, then something will have to be stronger than their love to pull them apart. Now, obviously, we know in 616 Spider-Man now, like in the Amazing Spider-Man and Superior Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, that Mary Jane and Peter Parker aren't exactly going out. Mary Jane has actually moved away with her new boyfriend to a different city. But what is really interesting about this is that Dan Slott actually revealed something called The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, which is going to be in 2015, which I think it's mid-2015 that the comic's releasing, and of course I will be reviewing it. I'll put a picture up at the end anyway to show you like what it looks like and stuff. But anyway, going back to the comic, Peter actually wakes up back in his own bed with Aunt May still alive, actually living still at Aunt May. Now, if I remember correctly, he hasn't gone back to being 16 years old. I think it's just erased 9 years of his life. So, pretty much we've gone 9 years back in time. So, all them years of Peter Parker going out with Mary Jane and then them getting married, all of that has been erased. So, Peter and Mary Jane have never been going out or anything like that at this point. So, Peter is actually going to a surprise party, and one thing that I was really surprised about was that the Flash and Peter Parker are actually still friends at this part in time, which I didn't know about. I thought that was really interesting. But it's actually a surprise birthday party for the one and only Harry Osborn, and of course I think this is where Norman Osborn hasn't been killed by Green Goblin yet. I'm not entirely sure, guys, because I haven't really read that much of Brand New Day or anything like that, because it is considered the worst storyline in history, remember that. But yeah, so I can't remember whether Green Goblin has actually been killed yet by Norman Osborn or whether Harry is going to become the Green Goblin. But as you can see, Peter is still like pretty sad with girl troubles and stuff like that, and I'm not entirely sure who this is, but I think Mary Jane comes up through the elevator. I'm not entirely sure. Now, in my opinion, I don't actually like the art in this comic. I like the art on Peter, but on the other characters, I just think that the art looks a little bit not as good as what it should do. Harry Osborn, in fact, actually looks really good with the art. It looks just like the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, which I like. And they actually all do a bit of a toast to a brand new day, and that is actually where the comic ends. But one thing that I actually just want to say again is the fact that when I was talking about, as you can see there, Peter Parker actually has his web shooters on his wrist there. So of course, in the Civil War, Peter Parker actually had his organic webbing, but obviously now that it's gone back like 9 years or whatever it's gone back to, he's just back to web shooters. Now, one thing that I actually want to go back to is that the Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, which is coming out in a few months in 2015, and it actually shows Peter Parker and Mary Jane on the front cover, actually with their daughter on Peter's shoulders. And I hope to God that that means that Peter Parker and Mary Jane are going to get back together and get married and have a kid or whatever, because right now in the 616 universe, like I've said, Mary Jane is not even in the city anymore. She's actually moved away with her boyfriend and stuff like that, and that's quite sad considering that Peter is kind of destined to be with Mary Jane, because of course the story of Spider-Man is to either be with Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane, and if he's not with any of them, then that is just not going to make sense. So yeah, what did you guys think of this issue? Of course, guys, think of it in terms of like a story. Don't think of it as the ruined Spider-Man and stuff like that. What you actually thought of the saga in that sense, because now if you look at where we are in the Amazing Spider-Man 616 right now, it's going so well. We had Superior Spider-Man, then we had Peter Parker come back into his body, then we had Spider-Verse, so it's all going so well. But what did you guys think of this issue? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, that is the end of the One More Day storyline, so next I'm going to be reviewing the Evolve or Die, the other storyline with Marlon and all that, so that's going to be interesting. But make sure you hit the like button on this video, guys, because it is the final part of One More Day, so make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to go to my Facebook page and go to the link in the description and go there and hit the like button as well, because I actually preview future comics and stuff like that. I tell you the release dates of comics and all that awesome stuff. And yeah, last but not least, guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in my next video.